The hotel always sounded different after 10. The ice machine clicked behind the service wall, the printer coughed out banquet orders, and the carpet held the smell of lemon cleaner from the evening crew. Three things sat on my desk that night: a seating chart, my pearl hairpin, and a paper cup of coffee gone cold. Of course, I told myself the coffee mattered more than the message on my phone. I watched myself move the phone face down beside the stapler. My name is Serena Vale. I was 34, senior private events manager at Lumina Hotel, and I knew how to make rich people feel safe in expensive rooms. I knew which investor needed a corner table, which bride hated lilies, which guest list had to look accidental even when every seat had been planned with a ruler. That night I was marking table 12 with a blue pilot pen because the client hated black ink. 2 menus. 1 late floral change. No space for mistakes. I liked being the person people came to when the room was not ready. I liked the small panic in their voices before I fixed it. That sounds ugly when written down, but it was not ugly to me then. It meant I was useful, visible, needed. At home, useful looked different. Marek did not need me in public. He did not ask me to shine. He waited. Once, after a winter gala, he parked outside the hotel at 12:17 a.m. I remember the exact time because the dashboard clock was slow by 4 minutes and he refused to fix it. He had tea in the cup holder, flat shoes on the passenger seat, and my scarf tucked near the heater so it would be warm. I do not remember what I said to him. I remember the scarf. That was Marek. My husband. 6 years together, married 3. He loved by solving things. If my laptop charger broke, he ordered a new one before I finished complaining. If my week looked heavy, he moved the grocery delivery. If I said the apartment felt messy, he cleaned the sink, not because he cared about the sink, but because he thought clean space made peace. That night he asked if I was coming home soon. He asked it softly when I called him back. He wanted to know what had changed between us because I was later now, sharper now, always half somewhere else. I heard a man checking the time. I answered like he was holding a clipboard. I told him the event season was brutal. He said he knew that, but brutal did not explain why I sounded relieved when he stopped asking questions. The printer jammed before I answered. A real jam. Page folded like an accordion. I used that small mercy and told him I had to go. Later, Nina sent a voice note from her balcony. She said my rooftop photo made me look dangerous, and after her divorce she loved seeing someone still have options. Of course, I replayed that twice. When I packed up, I put the pearl hairpin in my bag and left Marek's message unread. At home, he had folded my scarf beside my keys. He saw the phone turn over when I placed it on the counter. He said nothing. He only looked at it, then at me, and the quiet between us had 3 people in it already. The rooftop bar at Lumina had fake olive trees in square black pots and a view of the office towers across the river. On clear evenings, the glass walls held everyone's reflection over the city, so you could watch yourself being watched. I liked that part more than I admitted. It was a Thursday tasting for a private launch. The client wanted smoked salt, blood orange spritzes, and little spoons of tuna tartare. Nobody finished. I had a clipboard under my arm, a wireless earpiece in my left ear, and a roll of breath mints in my blazer pocket because the chef had gone heavy on garlic. Dante Brooks arrived 30 minutes late and acted as if late was a kind of entrance. He was 36, a nightlife promoter, and he handled the Arc Light Club guest list like it was a border crossing. He knew who wanted velvet ropes, who wanted privacy, who wanted to be seen pretending not to want it. I understood that language. It was close to my own. He said he remembered my drink order from the first planning call. He told the bartender to make it before I asked. Not quietly, not kindly. Loud enough that the junior coordinator turned and smiled. 1 drink, 2 glances, my phone dark in my pocket. I watched myself accept the glass. Leah Kim stood near the service elevator, eating a packet of seaweed snacks from the staff pantry. I remember the green wrapper, the sesame smell, the way she folded the empty packet into a small square. I do not remember if Dante asked me about my husband before or after he touched my elbow for the first time. It was not much. That is what I told myself. A hand at my elbow when he leaned past me to point at the floor plan. A laugh too close to my ear. A small delay before I moved away. Leah saw it. She looked at the floor numbers above the elevator instead of at me. That was her way. She avoided scenes. She had been raised by parents who fought in restaurants, she once told me, and she had built her whole adult life around not adding noise to a room. So she chose silence. At first, silence looked like kindness. Dante asked if I was always this controlled. I said control was why people hired me. He said no, they hired me because I looked like I knew a secret. Of course I kept that sentence. After the tasting, a few of us stayed on the rooftop. Dante, Nina, Pavel, 2 client guests, and me. The city lights came on one floor at a time across the river. Someone opened another bottle. The bartender put out bowls of almonds with rosemary and orange peel. Marek called at 9:42. I let it ring once, twice, and then I stepped toward the planters and answered. He asked how late I would be. He did not sound angry. That should have helped him. It did not. His calm made me hear boredom. I told him the tasting had run long and that it was mostly staff. Mostly. That word did a lot of work. He asked if Nina was there. I said yes. I did not say Dante was standing close enough to read the name on my screen. I did not say Pavel was taking photos for his story. I did not say the night felt less like work and more like proof that I was still someone people angled toward. Names are not facts, I told myself. Of course I believed that. I needed to. Nina found me by the planter after the call. She wore silver sandals and had lipstick on her wine glass. She asked if that was Marek checking on me. I told her he liked to know where things were, including me. She laughed too fast. She said husbands called everything disrespect when they stopped being interesting. She said being wanted was not a crime. That became my new sentence. I carried it like a key. The next morning, Marek made coffee before I left. He had bought the oat milk brand I liked, the expensive one with the blue cap. He placed it near my travel mug and asked about the tasting. I said it went fine. He said Pavel had posted a photo from the rooftop. He had seen Dante in the background, seen Nina, seen guests, seen enough to know my mostly staff was not true. He asked why I had made the evening smaller than it was. It was specific. A named incident. A fair question. I heard a trap. I told him he never cared about my events until another man appeared near one. The sentence came out smooth like I had practiced it, though I had not. He blinked once and looked down at the coffee spoon in his hand. He said he was asking because the version I gave him did not match what he saw. I said he had started collecting evidence like a man who wanted to be disappointed. The wrong response. Not cruel enough to end the morning. Not gentle enough to repair it. He rinsed the spoon, dried it, and put it in the drawer with more care than a spoon needed. At work, Leah did not mention Dante. She only asked if I needed the final ArcLight timeline printed. I said yes, and thanked her like nothing had shifted. She printed 2 copies and left mine on my desk without the usual sticky note smiley face. Pavel stopped commenting on my posts after that rooftop night. Theo answered Marek's texts but not mine in the group chat. Nina kept sending me little flames under photos. She was still near me, still warm, still making my choices feel safe. 2 messages from Marek. 1 missed call. No apology from me. That evening, Dante sent a link to the ArcLight guest list and added that he had put me down as VIP, not staff. I stared at the word VIP longer than the document. When Marek asked if I would be home for dinner, I said I had a client revision. Then I changed my lipstick in the hotel bathroom under lights so bright they showed every line beside my mouth, and I watched myself smile. ArcLight smelled like lime wedges, smoke machine fluid, and champagne drying into the floor. The hallway near the coat check glowed blue from a neon sign shaped like a broken moon. I had arranged hundreds of events in better rooms, cleaner rooms, rooms where the flowers cost more than rent, but ArcLight knew something those places did not. It knew how to make being seen feel like being chosen. I wore the black dress because Nina said it made me look like I had somewhere better to be. I wore the pearl hairpin because it kept one side of my hair back, and because Marek had bought it after I lost the old one during a wedding brunch 2 years earlier. In the apartment that afternoon, it had sat beside his unopened mail and a receipt for dishwasher tablets. Ordinary. Then not. Dante placed me in the center of the booth, not beside him at first. Center. That mattered. The booth had a low glass table, 2 bottles in metal buckets, and a little brass lamp that made everyone look warmer than they were. Nina sat to my left. Leah came because the event was tied to a Lumina client. Theo arrived with Marek's friend energy already on him, careful and watchful. Dante leaned close and told the server I got the first glass. He did it with a small lift of his hand, like the whole room moved when he lifted it. Of course I liked that. Nina said he was dangerous in the way men were before they became disappointing. I told her not to be dramatic. She asked whether I wanted boring forever. I answered that nobody had said boring. My hand touched my hairpin when I said it. At 11:08, Marek arrived. I did not know Theo had texted him. Theo had watched me laugh too loudly at Dante's jokes and had watched Leah stop looking toward the booth. Theo was not brave, not at first. He avoided hard things by calling them timing. But he had known Marek for 12 years, and something in his face that night made Theo send a message. Marek stood near the coat check under the blue light. He wore the grey jacket he used for dinners he did not want to attend. His hands were empty. No scene, no raised voice, just him, seeing. Dante saw him too. I know he did because his smile changed. It became a little sharper, a little more useful. The music was loud enough to make every choice feel private. It was not private. Dante shifted closer. His hand moved past my waist, beneath the edge of where the dress rested against my thigh. Not far, not hidden well, but far enough that no honest person could call it accidental. I could have moved. I could have taken his wrist. I could have laughed and stood and made the whole thing nothing. I did none of that. I watched myself stay. 1 second. 2. 3. My glass was cold against my fingers. The brass lamp threw a small circle of light on Dante's cuff. Nina's smile thinned. Leah's hand stopped halfway to her drink. Theo looked away first, which somehow made it worse. Marek did not walk over. He did not shout. He looked at Dante's hand, then at my face, and then he took off his wedding ring. Not fast. Not as a threat. He slid it from his finger and held it in his palm like he was checking the weight of it. That should have opened a door in me. Instead, I made the room my shield. I said, indirectly, that some men only called a woman loyal when she agreed to disappear. I said it loudly enough for the booth to hear, softly enough that I could later claim I had not meant him. It was a trick I had learned from events work. Say the thing into the air. Let the right person bleed. Nina gave a small laugh, but it had no body in it. Leah looked at me then, and her face had the flat carefulness she used when a client crossed a line with staff. Theo stood and said he was going to get some air. He did not come back. Marek came closer only when Dante moved his hand away. He did not look at Dante. That annoyed me then. I wanted him to look at Dante. I wanted a fight I could name as control. He asked if I wanted to leave with him. Quiet debrief. That was all. He asked as if we had missed a train, not as if I had made him watch his own humiliation in a club booth. I heard weakness. I heard a man who still expected me to choose him without giving the room a reason. I told him he had no right to appear and act wounded in a place he had never wanted to enter with me. He said he had wanted to enter, but not like this. I said, of course, now he had poetry. Wrong response again. He had offered a door. I painted it shut. Dante stayed silent because silence helped him. He looked at his phone. That should have told me something about him, but I explained it away as discretion. Marek turned before the server arrived with another bucket of ice. The server paused, saw the shape of the table, and asked Leah if everything was okay. Leah said it was fine. Her voice did not reach me. After Marek left, the booth changed. The music still hit the walls, the lamp still glowed, but nobody sat the same way. Nina checked her messages. Leah said she had an early client call and stood up. Dante asked if I wanted to move to the back room, where the light was better. Better for what? I did not ask. In the neon hallway, my pearl hairpins slipped loose. I bent to pick it up, but someone came through the coat check door with a tray of empty glasses, and I stepped back. A woman I barely knew from the client team recorded a location story. Later, in the corner of that clip, there it was. The hairpin on the floor by my heel, Dante's shoe close beside it, the blue light making the pearls look cold. I did not see the story until morning. Marek had seen it before me. That night, outside in the rideshare lane, Theo stood beside Marek for a few minutes. I saw them through the club window. Theo said something. Marek nodded once. No arms thrown around shoulders, no dramatic comfort. Just two men under a streetlight while cars pulled up, one after another. Nina found me near the bathroom mirrors. She told me I had gone too far, but she said it like a question. I told her Marek had embarrassed me by showing up. She pressed her lips together and said, maybe. Not yes. Maybe. One word. New distance. I fixed my hair without the pin. I could not remember where I had put my coat check ticket, though I remembered the exact colour of Leah's seaweed snack wrapper from Thursday. Memory is strange like that. It saves trash and loses doors. When I got home, Marek was awake. He asked if I wanted to explain the club before he stopped asking. I said there was nothing to explain if he had already decided. He said he had not decided until I made him the joke. Then he placed his ring on the kitchen counter beside the oat milk with the blue cap. The apartment did not get louder after that. It got cleaner. Amara's dining room always smelled like cardamom tea and old wood polish. She had a round table with scratches from her children's homework and a clock that clicked too loudly near the pantry. I arrived with flowers from the grocery store because I wanted the visit to look normal from the outside. Of course, normal is easy to stage. Amara took the flowers, cut the stems, and asked why Marek was not with me. I said he was being dramatic. She put the flowers in a chipped white vase and did not answer right away. My older sister had known me through every version of myself. Thin eyebrows at 16, red hair at 21. The year I wore only cream because I thought it made me look expensive. She had no patience for my costumes, but she loved me. That was the problem. Strangers could be dismissed. Amara had receipts in her bones. I told her the club story as if Marek had walked into a room, misunderstood a joke, and punished me with silence. I said Dante was a work contact. I said the booth was crowded. I said people touched people in clubs. One sentence, then another, each one cleaner than the night had been. Amara asked what I would call it if Marek had let another woman do that to him in front of me. I told her women were always punished for wanting attention. She said attention was not the same as making someone watch their own replacement. That landed badly because it used my mother's word without knowing it. Replacement. I laughed and told her she sounded old-fashioned. She told me I sounded 13, not cruelly. Worse. Accurately. Her youngest came in asking for a charger and the conversation stopped while Amara searched a drawer full of batteries, school scissors, and expired coupons. Real life has bad timing. The child took the charger and left. The clock kept clicking. Nothing had softened. Amara said she had seen the tagged story. She said Leah had not confirmed my version when Amara asked whether people were exaggerating. That was the first small wall falling. Leah had chosen not to lie for me. At home, Marek had washed the dishes. That detail still irritates me because it should not matter. A man washing dishes after seeing what he saw should have looked noble or pathetic, depending on the story I wanted. He looked tired. The blue dish towel hung over his shoulder. The apartment smelled like lemon soap and toast because he had made himself dinner and not asked if I wanted any. 2 plates drying. 1 sofa blanket folded. No questions. I told him Amara was judging me because she never liked seeing me happy. He looked at me for a long second and said Amara was not the pattern. Then he named it. He said it was the rooftop lie, the phone turned down, the jokes about him being steady like steady meant dead. He said it was the way I made him ask for respect, and then punished him for needing to ask. He said the club was not a beginning. It was just the first time other people saw the thing he had been living inside. He did not raise his voice. That made me work harder. I told him Dante had made me feel seen. There it was, my controlled partial truth, polished enough to look honest. I expected it to wound him and make him apologize at the same time. I expected him to step into the role I had built for him. The absent husband, the practical man, the housekeeper of a dead room. Instead, he asked whether being seen required making him watch. I said he always did this. He made one sentence into a trial. He said he was asking one sentence because I kept answering another one. Wrong fit. Two people speaking across a table, neither landing where they aimed. Then he mentioned the tagged story from Arc Light. He said I had told him I left with Nina. The clip showed my hairpin on the floor in the coat check hallway after Nina had already posted from her rideshare. He did not say what that proved. He did not need to. The pearl hairpin was on the dresser. I had put it there that morning after finding it in my bag. One pearl had a tiny scratch. Marek picked it up with 2 fingers, not tenderly, not roughly. He took a paper napkin from the stack beside the fruit bowl and folded the hairpin inside it. Then he placed it beside my phone. That was the near clear part. Not clear, but near. The napkin was brown, the cheap recycled kind I bought because the white ones felt wasteful. His fingers pressed the crease flat. My phone screen lit up with Nina's name, then went dark again. For a breath, the room had no argument in it. Only this small wrapped object, this thing he had bought because I lost things when I worked too late, this thing now carrying a hallway, a video, a lie. I almost saw him then, not controlling, not boring, not weak. A man trying not to come apart in front of someone who would use the pieces as proof. My hand moved toward the napkin. I stopped before touching it. The door opened, and I closed it myself. I told myself his silence was a weapon. I told myself men like Marek could make folding a napkin feel like a sentence. Then I picked up my phone, took a photo of the hotel lobby from my camera roll, and posted it with a clean caption about grace under pressure. Marek watched me do it. After that, something in him became practical in a new way. He took his laptop to the small desk by the window. He opened a spreadsheet, the kind he used for household budgets. I asked if he was documenting me now. He said he was organizing what belonged to both of us. No legal words, no threats, just tabs. Nina answered my message 40 minutes later with one line saying the night had been messy, but people would move on. She did not call. Leah sent the revised Arc Light invoice and nothing else. Pavel removed me from the Friday dinner chat before midnight. I knew because the thread went silent and then reappeared without me in Theo's story, with 4 wine glasses and no empty chair. Marek slept on the sofa that night. He folded the blanket in the morning so neatly that the apartment looked prepared for a guest who had already left. The apartment doorway became a border. Not all at once. First, Marek left his shoes lined up by the mat instead of kicked under the bench. Then he stopped hanging his coat beside mine. Then his keys moved from the blue ceramic bowl we bought at a street market to a plain envelope near the entry table. He had not moved out. Not yet. But he had started making himself removable. Of course I called that punishment. At 7:06 that morning, I stood in the doorway with my phone in my hand and watched him button his shirt. He had a meeting at 8. I had a client breakfast at 9. The ordinary schedule kept walking beside us, stupid and alive. I asked if he planned to keep acting like I had ruined his life. He said he was not acting. He was trying to understand whether there was anything left to speak to. That was too clean, too calm. I wanted the old questions back, the ones I could hate. I told him the marriage had become a house he maintained but no longer entered. I said he fixed charges, ordered oat milk, folded scarves, moved bills, and called that love. I said I had been lonely beside a man who treated my life like a list. He did not refute it. He looked at the entry table, at the envelope with his keys, then back at me. He said he could hear that. He said if I wanted to talk about loneliness, anger, even shame, he would stay in that conversation. But if I wanted him to carry blame for what I chose at the club, he would not. One correct thing from me. One clean line from him. I could have taken the door. Instead, I set fire to the frame. I told him he only sounded calm because he had never loved loudly enough to lose control. I said he wanted a grateful wife who came home, admired the clean counters, and stayed small. I said he had made me feel invisible and now wanted to punish me for being seen. He said being seen was not the same as letting someone else use me to hurt him. I said of course now he cared about words. He picked up his bag. Then he put it down again. That small delay bothered me more than leaving would have. He said things would be handled properly. He asked me to return the spare apartment key if I planned to stay elsewhere. He asked that shared expenses stay documented. He said he would not argue in doorways anymore. Properly. I hated that word. It had clean hands. After he left, I did the bad decision that made sense to me then. I made coffee, did not drink it, opened my phone, and wrote a story post. Not a direct one. I was too smart for direct. I used a photo from Lumina's lobby, all marble and morning light, and wrote about women being called unstable when they stopped accepting emotional neglect. I did not name Marek. Everyone knew. That was the point. Though I would not have said it that way. I wanted the story out before he could make me small inside it. I wanted people to see the frame I chose. I wanted the room again. 2 edits. 1 posted story. No way to pull it back clean. Leah saw it before the client breakfast. She was at the host stand with a stack of name cards and a croissant wrapped in a napkin. She looked at me, then at her phone, then back at the name cards. She did not comment. She tapped the screen once and slipped the phone into her blazer pocket. Later I understood that she had saved it. That morning, the CEO of a medical device company arrived 15 minutes early, and the whole breakfast shifted. I had to smile, move the gluten-free pastries to the left sideboard, and tell the AV technician that the HDMI cable was under the lectern. Consequences do not wait in clean rooms. They stand beside coffee urns and ask for Wi-Fi. At 10:30, Nina sent a laughing face under an old photo of us from months before, but she did not respond to the post. I messaged her directly. I asked if I had gone too far. I asked if people were talking. I asked if she could call. 3 messages. A typing bubble once. Then a grey heart. Nothing else. No lecture. No fight. No loyal performance. Just a small grey heart where a person used to be. I put the phone in my pocket and checked the seating chart with hands that kept smoothing the same corner. Dante was worse in a quieter way. At first, he sent a short message saying people were dramatic and the club crowd forgot everything by Tuesday. Then he asked whether Marek had used his name. Then he asked who had seen the tagged story. The order mattered. Comfort first, self-protection second, distance third. I told him Marek was making it bigger than it was. Dante said his business could not be pulled into domestic drama. Domestic. Like I had brought a leaking bag into his clean car. I answered that he had not minded being part of it at ArcLight. He said that was not fair. Not fair. I watched myself almost laugh in the staff bathroom. A woman from housekeeping was refilling the paper towels, so I washed my hands twice and said nothing. By evening, Marek had changed again. Not louder. Less reachable. He placed receipts from our shared account in a folder. He photographed the meter reading. He asked which nights I planned to sleep at home so there would be no confusion. I accused him of treating me like a tenant. He said he was trying to reduce contact where contact became performance. That sentence had Leah in it, Theo in it, Nina's grey heart, Dante's careful questions, the club booth, the hairpin in the napkin. I heard insult. I told him he had always loved systems more than me. He said systems had never asked him to humiliate himself to prove devotion. Then he stopped. The stopping was new. Before he would try again, he would find another angle, another patient phrase, another practical bridge. Now he picked up the folder and went to the desk by the window. I followed him because silence made me feel erased. He did not turn around. At 8:14, Amara called. I let it go to voicemail because I did not want her old sister voice telling me what I already knew and refused to know. Her message was short. She said she loved me, and that love was the reason she would not repeat my version for me. By 9 o'clock, Pavel had posted a dinner photo without tagging anyone. I counted the plates anyway. 4 plates. 1 empty space where my chair usually went. No mention. At 10:22, I sent Nina one final message asking if she was awake. No answer. Marek slept on the sofa again, but this time he did not fold the blanket in the morning. He carried it into the laundry basket, washed it, dried it, and placed it in the hall closet. The sofa looked open after that. Not waiting. Cleared. Monday morning at Lumina smelled like espresso, wet wool coats, and the white lilies the lobby florist replaced every week. I was reviewing linen invoices at the reception counter because the office printer had failed again. Leah stood at the coffee station, stirring sugar into tea she never drank. The HR coordinator was near the glass doors, speaking to a courier about a missing badge. At 9:20, a man in a navy jacket asked for Serena Vale. I said that was me. He checked my face against a page on his clipboard and handed me a flat envelope. I signed where his finger pointed. My signature looked smaller than usual. Then I pressed the envelope against the marble counter until one corner bent under my thumb. The document was titled Petition for Dissolution of Marriage and Motion for Temporary Exclusive Use of the Marital Apartment and Preservation of Joint Accounts. The first hearing was listed for June 18, 2026, at County Family Court. There it was, named only now, after all the unnamed preparation. The arc light incident, the tagged location story, Leah's account, my public post about emotional neglect, the shared expenses Marek had organised while I called him cold. No new miracle, no secret witness from nowhere, just the things I had made visible, placed in order. Leah stopped stirring her tea. The spoon touched the cup once, twice, then stayed still. The HR coordinator came over and asked if I needed to step away from client-facing duties for the morning. Not cruel, not warm, practical, true. I tried to say it was a private marital overreaction, but she looked at the envelope, then at the lobby full of guests, and did not take the frame from my hand. Dante exited before I did. I sent him a photo of the envelope. He deleted the tagged club story, replied that he could not be involved in my marriage issue, and blocked me before noon. Marek arrived only to collect the apartment key from the front desk envelope I had refused to return. He signed the receipt. He did not ask to speak. He left through the glass doors while the lilies shook from the draft. I moved into a short-term studio above a bakery because the temporary order gave Marek exclusive use of the apartment until the hearing. The joint account was restricted to documented household expenses, and every automatic payment had to be listed. Amara came once with groceries but did not sit down. Pavel kept me out of dinners, and Leah became polite in the way people are polite to guests. Dante stayed blocked from my side of the world, and his assistant told ArcLight staff not to add me to private lists without prepayment. Lumina removed me from VIP nightlife accounts and put me on daytime corporate breakfasts until the review ended. I believed visibility was protection. Of course I did. I believed being wanted in public proved I had not become my mother, waiting at home for a quiet man to leave. 2 posts, 1 club story, 1 envelope on a lobby counter. The proof that I existed became the record of what I broke. The pearl hairpins stayed on the dresser in the apartment I no longer entered. Marek kept the home and I kept the audience.